guys? Welcome into Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Bailey O'Carroll, joined by Andrew Chapman. Andrew, the semester is thankfully winding down for us, but for student athletes involved in spring sports, things are kind of just getting rolling.
I don't know how some of these guys and gals balance it all out. We're grinding out classes, and those folks are right in the middle of their season right now. What a balancing act. I don't know how they do it.
I don't think I could do it.
No.
But let's move on to a sport that is no longer in season. The first official day of spring was on March 20th. Now we are well into April. That means that it is time for some spring football. Todd Graham and his squad are back on the playing field, or I guess the practice field, until August rolls around. The first team started off last season pretty well, to say the least, going 6-0. Fast forward till the second half of the season, well, they were able to match that magical number 6. The only problem was that it was in the loss column. The team finished at exactly 500. For more of what Sun Devil fans can look forward to come this football season, we bring in ASU football experts Chad Frazier and Jacob Janauer.
Thanks, Bailey. Spring football is finally back, and we know ASU had some struggles last year at many positions, but quarterback is a spot that they're very deep at right now. They have 5 guys, Chaz, who could potentially start at the Division I level. This guy right here, Manny Wilkins, he's going to be competing in the fall with Blake Barnett for that starting quarterback spot. Of course, they have Bryce Perkins, Brady White, and Dylan Sterling Cole, who could all fit into the mix as well, but inexperience and some injuries have kind of put them at the back for the time being. Wilkins, I feel like they know what they have with him. More than any other quarterback, he started the majority of the games under center for the Sun Devils last year. But then there's Barnett. He transferred over from the University of Alabama, a very prestigious program, and of course a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. So he definitely has the talent. The potential is there for him, but he doesn't have the experience Wilkins has right now. So we'll see what Graham does. Of course, we're not going to get an answer for sure until probably late August, early September.
Like you said, you hit it right on the nail, Jacob. Todd Graham's been tiptoeing around at spring practices. Who's going to start? Who's not going to start? We don't know. They're going to have to battle it out all the way into the fall. But let's take things over to the defensive side of things. This is an area this team needed to address right away. As you can see, the first thing they did to do that was hire Phil Bennett. He's a guy that brings experience, tenacity. When I'm out there at spring practice, he's just giving all the guys energy, and that's what this team needs. And then another big thing to address was the secondary for this team. We're talking about they ranked dead last in the Pac-12 for the second year in a row, and this is their core going forward right now as of spring. We have Marcus Ball, Kareem Orr, and Ahmad Perry, but the storyline with those 3 players is they've been in green all spring practice long. And Marcus Ball, I was talking to him at practice on Wednesday, and I don't even think he's not even ready to go for the spring game. But one of the big stories too is Chase Lucas right there, redshirt freshman, All-American in high school. He switched over from the offensive side to the defensive side, and they're thinking that he may be able to grab that second corner position on the other side. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do moving forward and how their health's going to be. Now we're going to take it to the linebackers. They're in the trenches. That's what I like to call it. This guy, DJ Calhoun and Christian Sam, they also struggled covering the run, ranking 8th in the Pac-12, giving up about 192 yards a game. And it was in large part because this guy right here, Christian Sam, was out. DJ Calhoun, everything fell on his shoulders, and I'm sure he got exhausted and he couldn't do anything. So it's going to be interesting to see once these 2 guys get back in the trenches, covering some passes, that's going to bring a lot of life to this defense, and they need it. They need to be able to stop things. But that's all we have in this segment. The spring game will be at 2 p.m. at Sun Devil Stadium. For Jacob Janauer, I'm Chaz Frazier. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jacob and Chaz. From the football field, we move to the lacrosse field here with ASU lacrosse experts Austin Burnett and Blaine McCormick. Guys, the team is currently at a very pivotal point in their season. Could go really good, could go not so well, but it seems like regardless they're going to be a number 2 seed. What does this mean for them moving forward into the season?
Well, that number 2 seed plays right into the SLC playoff, and this team, they're on a tear as of lately. They've won 5 out of their last 6 games, but their most recent loss came against in-state rivals Grand Canyon University, whose game you see behind us on the screen. So they really have to come out in this one. Like we said, it's a rivalry. ASU U of A, it's a big rivalry in all sports between these 2 schools, and lacrosse is no different. So there's going to be a lot of energy in this one, a lot of big hits, a lot of big goals scored, and it's just going to be a fantastic game to watch.
Yeah, you were talking about how big this rivalry is. You know, ASU, U of A, how much better can it get toward the end of the season? Heading into the playoffs, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how ASU is going to be able to end the season here.
There's going to be a lot of energy in this
absolutely.
game. Austin, who do you think the difference maker is going to be for this team?
Well, I think it's going to be Jake Martins. He's a sophomore. He's their leading goal scorer. He's already surpassed the amount of goals he scored from last season, so I think he's going to be an impact player, not only against U of A, but moving on and into the postseason.
You mentioned Martins. I'm going to stick with the attack theme right now and go with Patrick Haviland. Last year, he scored a hat trick against these guys, and I think he can have the exact same performance as of lately. He's got 10 goals on this season, and with that attack, like you mentioned, it's Martins, Rhett Rogers, and Patrick Haviland. They're a scoring machine, and we'll see if they can get the gas going right again.
All right, well, that game against U of A is tomorrow on Saturday. We'll see if either of those guys step up for this team. But can we get some predictions? Who do you think is going to come out on top?
I think ASU is going to come out on top. It's going to be close. It's going to be close, but I think ASU is going to come out on top.
We've talked about this energy that is between these two teams, the big, brutal hits that you are going to see going on. I'm going to stick with Austin's theme that ASU comes out on top, but I'm going to go with a little bit of a bold prediction. 9-8 is the score. It's going to be kind of a low-scoring game for lacrosse, but since these two teams just battle it out with each other, Todd McRobbie talked about when he played on this ASU team, whenever they matched up against the Wildcats, it was always a headbutting matchup. So I think it's going to be the exact same theme come tomorrow.
All right, well, that game is tomorrow. Thanks for the predictions and your guys' wisdom.
The Arizona State men's club lacrosse team is gearing up for the playoffs as they close out their season against the University of Arizona on Saturday. The Sun Devils will look to build on the momentum they've built throughout the season thanks to the hot hand of sophomore attackman Jake Martins, who leads the team in scoring with 27 goals. Martins said his passion for the game came in third grade when he first tried playing lacrosse.
I was playing baseball at the time too, switching off spring sports there, and just the pace of that, I got hooked as soon as I played my first game.
Martins is currently studying economics at ASU. He said he chose a school for the academics. The club lacrosse team was just a bonus.
Definitely the school part, because I checked out a couple other small D3s and D2 schools, and I just couldn't see myself going to a school there if lacrosse wasn't an option. So I wanted to, definitely go to a school where if I wasn't playing lacrosse, I'd still be happy to go attend that school.
And although the season isn't over yet, Martins looks forward to his next 2 years at Arizona State.
I'm pretty excited. We're bringing a lot of kids back. We're graduating some pretty crucial seniors, but I'm pretty excited. We're bringing a big squad back.
One of ASU's biggest personnel losses will be senior attackman Rhett Rogers, who led the team in scoring last season. It will be up to Martins to step up and take that leadership role.
It's going to be kind of tough. I'm not really usually a person that's outspoken or talks a lot, so I got to work on that. But I'm ready to step up.
Rogers said that Martins is a great teammate to have who does just about everything.
He's a great dodger. He can catch the ball inside. He pretty much does it all. And he's a really great teammate. He's a guy who just keeps his head cool throughout the game, which is nice because, I tend to have my ups and downs. And, he's solid, which is great for me out there. And it's special to have that in a younger guy.
And although Martins' 22-goal freshman campaign was no slouch, Rogers said he has seen improvement in Martins this year.
This year he's a lot more confident, and he's been shooting the ball a little better, and he's just been executing, which is kind of something that comes with age, and he's been doing a really great job.
For Cronkite Sports, I'm Harley Yearout reporting.
After a disastrous start to conference play, ASU baseball is slowly regathering with a pair of wins this week over UNLV and Washington State. The first time they've won back-to-back games since the second week of March. Here's a graphic looking at the first game on Tuesday over UNLV. ASU winners 5-3 in that one behind the ace pitcher Eli Lingos, who improves to 4-3 on the year. Let's go ahead and fast forward to Thursday's game against Washington State. Gage Kenny legged out a ground ball and scored the 6th run of the game for ASU. That would prove important behind a couple of defensive efforts from Arizona State. Nice play from Carter Aldretti just a moment ago there. And Lyle Lynn goes down to a knee and makes a sliding play over to the first base bag, which helped lead ASU to a 6-5 win. Washington State made a comeback, but they held him off the entire way. Freshman left-hander Chaz Montoya gets the win on Thursday and is now 3-2 on the year. For more to come on this weekend's series against Washington State, our Cronkite Sports baseball reporter Rob Warner was on hand at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. this morning for what's to come in the series.
Thanks, Andrew. I'm here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, where Arizona State beat the Washington State Cougars 6-5 last night, thanks in large part to some early offense by Gage Canning. He went 2 for 4, knocked in 4 of the team's 6 runs on the evening. He had a 3-run home run. That was his 2nd of the season. It was a towering shot, hit off the Sun Devil scoreboard right behind me, and Arizona State really looked impressive in their win last night. Connor Higgins provided their relief and provided some domination out of the bullpen. He went 3 1/3 innings, allowed 2 hits, no runs, while striking out 4 of the Washington State Cougar batters. He threw 95 miles an hour on his fastball. That was his fastest ever thrown at Arizona State. And tonight, the Arizona State Sun Devils, they're going to look to get another win against the Cougars in Pac-12 play. Washington State's going to throw out there Ryan Walker. He's their right-handed starting pitcher who will pitch tonight against the Sun Devils. And ASU hasn't named their starter tonight, but Tracy Smith said it's going to be a surprise, and the team is ready to get another win in Pac-12 play. That's all for now. Thanks to you guys, and back to the desk.
Hey, thanks so much, Rob. You know, there was some hate on the social media spectrum in the last couple of days towards ASU baseball with the little bit of the losing streak that they went on. Our man Eliav Gabai had to check some of that stuff out and pick out some tweets that stood out to him. Eliav, what do you have for us this week? It's been interesting.
I made sure to exclude all the hate. We're going to have some fun in this one.
Beautiful, positive vibes. Yeah.
All right, starting out in the football spectrum, though, we got ASU running back Demario Richard tweeting at WCSN alumni Kerry Crowley, saying, "Thank you, Kerry, for always keeping it a stack." Now, keeping a stack, I mean, I'm going to assume, I talked to my sources, that means keeping it real. But what do you guys think? I'm not exactly sure.
You know, I'm not 100% up to date, I would say, on the emoji lingo nowadays, Bailey.
Yeah, I don't. It makes me feel really old.
I know, right? Seriously, we need to update ourselves on this afterwards. But hey, it's great seeing Kerry Crowley, a former anchor at CSL, making an appearance on the show still. A couple of great athletes, and Kerry himself ran the Boston Marathon this weekend. He's a great athlete too.
I would not be able to make it. I don't know how he does it.
Not a chance, not even a mile.
All right, next tweet from Sun Devils men's tennis. That's right, Sun Devil men's tennis. They're finally on the map in Tempe. They are an ASU sport, and now they're in the social media world. Hello world, hashtag Forks Up. I tried to look for my first tweet since that is theirs. I couldn't find it. I'm sure it was something about basketball. Did you guys find yours? Do you guys know yours?
I found mine. I looked for it just before we came on, and mine was about Criminal Minds. I said I love the show Criminal Minds. Still do, so it's still true. 5 years.
I think I did something of a similar nature to ASU Twitter, 5 years, 6 years after it was all the hype. I said something along the lines of, hey, I'll try this new Twitter thing out. What do you think? So that was mine. But, man, I love seeing ASU tennis, men's tennis getting on the map on social media. Time to give those Cal and Stanford guys a run for their money. In the Pac-12,
we'll see how long,
time to get involved.
We'll see how long that takes for them to really get involved and compete.
Right.
But for now, we'll talk about a team that has been competing, ASU baseball. Now, they're saying when your professor cancels your Monday 8 a.m., they got pitcher Chris Isbell saluting. And you know what? That is the exact feeling I have when that Monday 8 a.m. is canceled, thank God. You wake up to that email, you're just waiting for it.
See, I can't relate. I was smart, and I've never scheduled the Monday 8 a.m. because, quite frankly, I know I'd never make it. So, more power to the guys on the ASU baseball team that can play a game on Sunday and make that morning class 8 a.m. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
We'll see. I have one next semester, so we'll see.
Good luck.
Man.
You're going to need it.
Man, Eliav, goodbye. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Eliav. And now we move on to the tennis court. Let's talk some ASU women's tennis. This team has been on an absolute tear as of late, winning their last 5 matches. They're looking to rack up their 6th as they are taking on USC as we speak. It's a close one there, tied 3-3, so we'll see just who comes out on top and if ASU can get their 6th straight win.
Time for some ASU softball in studio. We got our play-by-play man, Drew Ange, right here. And Drew, again, a common theme in the Pac-12 for softball this year, one of the best conferences in the country. ASU at the moment, they're in the top 25, but just trying to keep pace with the rest.
Yeah, it shows how hard the Pac-12 is. They are number 23 right now in the country. And they're 3-7 in Pac-12 play so far, and it's because of some of the powerhouses that are higher up there. You see 3 teams in the top 10 in the country. The bright spot for ASU, they get a couple opportunities against a few of those, Utah, Arizona, and UCLA still to come this season. So if they can scrap away in some of those series, maybe get a win or two in a couple of them, they're going to be looking a lot better seeding-wise as we head into the postseason because they need to prove that they can win in conference play.
It's crazy. Arizona there, 40-1. That's a lot of wins right there. Just looking at a couple of other teams that have swept ASU this year, Oregon and Washington elsewhere above them. ASU's trying to keep pace, again, in that conference, but it's hard to keep pace with top teams if you're struggling offensively, which ASU, it's happened to them at times.
Exactly, and this younger offense looked pretty good in preseason, but now that you're in regular season and playing some teams that are really competitive, you need to be even better. I mean, you look right here in their wins, they're doing just fine, but it's the inconsistency. In a couple of their losses this season already, they've been shut out, 4 games actually of those 7 losses, and it's going to take the heart of the order. Sachel Palacios, Chelsea Gonzalez, Margaret Stam. If we just look back to the Oregon series, only a combined 5 hits between those 3 players, and you need more out of your veteran leadership.
Now, if they're going to try and climb that ladder in conference, a chance to do so this weekend against Stanford, one of the lower teams in the Pac-12. They waxed them last night. 10-0 was the final, courtesy of the mercy rule. How do you see this series playing out?
Yeah, and Stanford is at the bottom of the Pac-12 right now. But any series that you can get a sweep in, they need to do. And I think they have that opportunity this weekend against Stanford. And it's a big one for Tricia Ford. She returns to Stanford. She spent 9 years there as a coach. And after this week off, I think this is the momentum they need heading forward for the remainder of the Pac-12.
All right, so we'll have to see the result of that one. Drew Andre giving us some insight on the ASU softball season. Thanks so much, Drew.
On Sunday, Oregon State tied ASU's consecutive win streak at 23. Last night, the Beavers lost in a close one, 3-2 against Washington. Sun Devil fans can breathe again because with that loss, Arizona State's win streak stays intact.
The 1988 Arizona State baseball season ended with a loss in the College World Series to Stanford. Despite falling just short in the College World Series, the '88 season was one of the greatest in Sun Devil baseball history. Pitcher Brian Dowd threw the 7th no-hitter in school history in a 9-0 win against Tennessee. The team that featured 4 future Major League Baseball players would go on a 23-game winning streak to set a conference record and to win a Pac-10 conference championship. Last night, the #1 ranked Oregon State Beavers' 23-game win streak ended as they lost to Washington 3-2. Beavers baseball has been excellent this season. By the numbers, Beavers second baseman Caden Greenier is on a 9-game hit streak, and infielder Nick Madrigal is batting .400. Oregon State's lethal pitching rotation of Luke Heimlich, Jake Thompson, and Jake Mahalan have a combined record of 16-1 on the mound. With the current conference record of 12-1, the Beavers are the likely favorites to win the Pac-12 this year. As for the 2017 Sun Devils, they have won 2 of the last 6, and their record is currently 4 games below .500. In a season filled with pitching struggles, time will tell if the Sun Devil season can be revived in the remaining months. Nick Sheehy, Cronkite Sports.
All right, now let's head into the way it is. You guys know the drill. We each answer 3 questions. The producer picks whose answers, I guess, that they like the best. So, Andrew, let's get things rolling right away. Start with ASU baseball. They're on the verge of their first season with less than 30 wins in 54 years. You think that they're going to be able to rally back in any way?
It's crazy to think. That's older than my parents, right? I mean, I would hope that they can go on a stretch, but they would have to almost win every single game at this point to get to that 30-win mark. I think they can sweep Washington State. I think they can sweep Cal State Bakersfield next weekend. But once they get back into the heart of Pac-12 play, I just think they might fall a little bit short. They don't have enough consistent pitching, at least starting, to, I think, get a 30-win season this year, and history is broken after this season. So those are my thoughts. Bailey, let's go to football. Flashing forward a couple of months, ASU last season started out very strong and then went 0-6 down the stretch. Are they an above 500 team this year, or do they fall below once again?
Yeah, like you were saying, they finished right at that 500 mark last season. I'm going to say that they are above 500 with, I think, those guys getting a little more experience under their belts. They've played those tougher teams. They've been to those tougher locations. So this is their second time around, obviously excluding those freshmen that are coming in. So I think that this will give them the edge to go above 500 this season. Now let's move on to some wrestling. They had their end of season banquet last last night, I think it was.
Just last night.
Yeah, and so the Valencia brothers, obviously, they're all the talk around ASU wrestling. Which one do you think is going to do better next year?
Oh man, well Saheed was the big guy this year. He was the guy that went undefeated, in Pac-12. But I'm gonna go a hot take. I'm gonna say Anthony. He's a little bit bigger, about 20 pounds higher, in a different weight class than Saheed. I say he has the big year next season with Zeke Jones in ASU wrestling. We'll mix it up. Both those guys are just probably going to have insane seasons.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go Anthony. How about women's basketball? Just had the WNBA draft. 2 Sun Devil players signing as free agents with different teams in the WNBA. Do you think they have an impact in their first year in the league?
I think that they do. Sophie Bruner signed with the Phoenix Mercury, so I don't know. She may not have a huge impact, but I think she'll have a little one. They have a lot of veteran women on that team, Brittany Griner being one of them. They're a super talented team, but then you have Quinn Dorn's daughter.
Yeah.
She signed with the LA Sparks, so I think she'll have a little bit more of a chance to have a bigger impact there. Now let's move on, kind of going full circle back to football.
Okay.
Any favorites for quarterback yet?
Well, it's Blake Barnett and it's Manny Wilkins. Those are kind of the 2 guys. And Todd Graham, when asked by reporters this week, who's kind of leading the charge, he didn't give any sort of hint. He said Manny Wilkins is number 5, Blake Barnett is number 8. That's the numbers they're wearing. They're above the rest of the pack. So there's no clear favorite yet. If I had to take a wild guess, I'd say Blake Barnett comes out on top in the end. A little bit of a stronger arm. I think that's what ASU needs going into next year. Todd Graham says he's looking for like a Taylor Kelly personality, though, someone who can really lead the rest of the offense.
All right.
So we'll just have to see down the stretch.
Wait and see.
And
I guess.
let's close it up, Bailey. As the school year goes down the stretch this year, there's been a ton of different stories we've covered here on Cronkite Sports Live. General question, what has been the sports team that surprised you the most this year and that you've enjoyed?
I'm going to go wrestling. Personally, I hadn't followed wrestling as closely as I did this year, and I think the Valencia brothers have a huge responsibility in that. I didn't follow it much, but since they were so good, they brought so much attention to a sport that otherwise didn't get a ton of attention right here on campus. So yeah, I would say wrestling.
Love
awesome.
it. Lots of fun sports this year. Let's go ahead and toss it into the studio and see who the producers want to talk today. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Andrew wins it up by the river. Nice. Oh, which way are we going? There we are. Okay, so after a 2-10 start to the conference season for ASU baseball, I saw a lot of badgering on social media. And for the first time, fans calling for the job of third-year head coach Tracy Smith. Now, I understand the frustration, as this season has gone against the historical success established at ASU. But Smith gets it too. The Skip was not shy following Tuesday's game, admitting that he felt the group quit on the road against Cal last weekend, and that such an attitude offers life lessons that extend beyond baseball. Smith touched on character, driving home the message with his team that when things get tough, that's when you see what you really have as a group. Now they have strung together their first pair of wins since the second week of March, trending in a positive direction. It's baseball, people, a game of hot streaks and cold streaks, and that's just the way it is.
All right, let's move into some top plays. What do we have first? We start off on the baseball field. Lyle Lynn making the grab, and he's able to get the slide into first base, saving that play for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, he's a fan favorite offensively, too, defensively as well. Here's a defensive play for you. Andrew Shaps, this is the final out of the game last night against Washington State. A deep drive out into center, and Shaps tracks it all the way to the warning track.
Very impressive.
The deepest part of the park.
All right, what do we have for the top play, though? Let's see. All right, we're keeping it on the baseball diamond. Gage Canyon, he is able to get the, 3-run homer, I think?
3-run bomb.
Pretty impressive. I definitely couldn't do that.
Yeah, no way. That's all the way off the scoreboard too. They're lucky they have all the lights intact after.
Exactly.
Right there on the scoreboard. So man, oh man, lots of good stuff. All coming to ASU baseball. They have a couple of big wins. They've really needed those as they got off track to start conference, and hopefully they can settle in.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get over 30 wins.
Seriously, they need that too.
Yeah.
Keep history alive.
All right, that's it for this episode of Cronkite Sports Live. For Andrew Chapman, I'm Bailey O'Carroll. Thanks for tuning in.